You have reached the Geek Elite. Good luck.
Man, that movie was excellent.
It really was. Totally blew my expectations away.
I know, right? Now I really want to tell everyone about it. But I'm not sure how.
Yeah. If only there was a podcast dedicated to reviewing films and discussing the latest news and trailers on upcoming films. That would be nice.
Yes, for sure. And we can call it the Cineguy Show.
What? No. It will be called Real Movie Critic Unleashed.
No. How about Cineguy featuring Real Movie Critic?
How about the Real Movie Critic and his sidekick, the Cineguy?
CG and RMC.
RMC and CG!
The Real Movie Critic versus the Cineguy. Only at CertainPOV.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
You're going down, critic.
Bring it on, guy.
So, I feel like I should watch it because I liked the episodes I saw, but I never knew what was going on.
I fucking love Shaman King.
Welcome back for another shift on the Geeks Watch. I had to get it in there before Steven finished chewing his food and tried to mess me up with my recording. But we are here, and it's only Steven, Jessica, and myself, because the other two we just kicked out.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're getting the A team today.
The other two had other things they needed to do today. So the three of us are going to talk about our week's watch. And then we're going to get into the fourth episode of Sweet Tooth called Secret Sauce. Which, okay. Yeah, that was explained at the end of the episode.
I'm trying to think of what it was.
Oh, well.
I watched the episode on Monday, so this will be fun.
But I'll let Steven get to our introductions.
Oh, I always forget. I never pre-plan these. They're always going to be off the cuff. This is good. All right. So I am Steven, the most peppermint gentleman. And then alongside me today, I have Jess, who loves books so much that she does a podcast about them.
Yes, you're on it too.
And then the man himself. I think that's the one I'm going to stick with for you all the time.
The man himself.
Him very much. the CEO, the CFO, all of the letter abbreviations. Mitch.
I'm going to be talking about two movies in my week's watch that are completely different from each other, so that's going to be interesting.
Okay. I'm curious about this.
But first, Jessica, what did you watch this week?
Oh, I gotta be first now.
Yeah.
So I was in an anime mood, and it's actually technically not an anime because it's in Mandarin.
It's an anime.
No, they call it something different, and I can't remember what they call it. But anyway, it's The Daily Life of the Immortal King on Netflix. And it's like a comedy magic. I don't even know what it is, honestly. It's just, it's a comedy magic anime that takes place in a school about this kid. People are born with spiritual powers. So I assume it's following Buddhism. People are born with spiritual powers that they can use and manipulate. But this kid is basically born with the powers of a god, but he doesn't want to be used for it. So he blocks his powers with a seal. But that seal also makes him be very cold and emotionless. So he's not emotional, and he doesn't really easily form attachments to people and isn't good at making friends. And so, like, the whole time he's very blank and whatever, even though he's got this girl that loves him and all this other stuff. And you can kind of see he does care for them. He just doesn't show it. And later on explain, that seal also blocks his emotion. But it's kind of a good thing because if his powers are ever unleashed, he will destroy the world, basically. Like, he's that powerful, the world will be destroyed.
And people don't want that.
And people don't want that, and he doesn't want that. But it's good and it's hilarious. It's kind of like if I could compare it to another anime, it's kind of like One Punch Man, where it's like a dopey sort of blank character, but is the most powerful, but nobody believes they're the most powerful. Even when they like see it, there's still some other explanation or someone else gets the credit for it.
I was gonna say that it reminded me of Mob Psycho 100, which is another series from the same guy.
Oh, really? Okay, I haven't seen Mob Psycho, so
It's very good. Don't watch the live action movie. It's on Netflix. It's trash.
Well, I don't watch any live actions. I think the only live action I'll end up really watching is probably the Cowboy Bebop one, just because I feel like that one would be the one that's easier to adapt live action than other ones that they chose.
I mean, they've done it a few times, right?
Yeah, Full Metal Alchemist, which was good visually in some ways, and some other ones.
No, I meant like Cowboy Bebop. Isn't there other things that are eventually like kind of similar to Cowboy
Firefly
Bebop that are live action? Yeah, all
it's
sci-fi.
Firefly, like all space sci-fi is a lot like Cowboy Bebop. That's why it's like, yes, Cowboy Bebop could easily be made live action. It's not super. I mean, it's CGI based, but it's not. I don't know. It's not like it's an anime, but it's not like an anime. Like it's very like if you want to introduce somebody who thinks they don't like anime, have them watch Cowboy Bebop and give it a shot. Story wise, it's very I guess Americanized is almost a way. I don't know.
I like that we literally have like we're that's the thing that you should do. Cowboy Bebop is a pretty solid option for a person who doesn't want to watch anime because it's not One Piece, it's not Naruto or anything.
Yeah.
But then Mitch is right here, who did exactly this, and then came out the other end like.
But like Mitch, you also don't just like cartoons in general, though.
I mean, I don't have a problem with cartoons, but I also don't seek them out. I don't go and watch them. Like it's got to be something very gripping about it for me to watch it, or not gripping, but like grabs my attention. Basically, like I like Archer, but I stopped watching that. I like Venture Brothers, but I stopped watching that.
Venture Brothers is good.
I like Rick and Morty, but like I'm kind of done with that now. Like this newest season is not really doing much for me.
Is season 4 out now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
It feels like a parody of itself in a lot of ways.
And I think that's what Dan Harmon's wanting to do. Like he's just like, I've already went through all my meta jokes for the other seasons. Now I'm just gonna make fun of myself in this show and make fun of the people that really still enjoy it.
Yeah. That's like I guess that is what happened. He like probably never thought it would have more than 2 seasons. I feel like that's where Rick and Morty is. Like you guys still want this like horribly I can't even describe the type of humor. It's just dark humor. Nobody's a good character. Like you still want this stuff in your life? Okay.
Which is funny because I don't know if you all saw it in the episode of Sweet Tooth that we're talking about. Rick showed up there.
Did he?
Justin Roiland? Or do you mean
no? Like when they walk into the place that the animal army exists or hang out, like on the wall is a drawing in neon marker, and it's a crude depiction of Rick, but it's definitely Rick.
Oh, okay.
I like the idea. I like it being like
that makes
like
sense.
He's
honestly.
like he appeared. It's like a cave drawing.
Yeah, exactly.
He's been in this.
And I mean, it's Warner Brothers, and they seem to be putting mentions of Rick and Morty into everything now. So
yeah,
money.
I guess, yeah, money. But yeah, and I think it also didn't help with Mitch that we were like, it's like Firefly, you'll like it. And then he would just point out all the things that are just not like Firefly.
Yeah.
Oh no, I realize it. It's a lot like Firefly. Firefly is a lot like it.
Yeah.
And then that theme song at the beginning is Archer. So like that always got me too.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the live action show, guys. I'm so
Seatbelts
scared
is
too,
great.
though.
Are you so scared? Yeah, it's gonna be. It'll be a thing. I'll end up watching it, but
Well, I'm gonna
we'll
watch
see how
it.
it goes. All right. So yeah, the daily life of the Immortal King. I recommend it. It was actually a lot of fun. It was an adjustment, because it's only subbed because it's Mandarin. So, it was an adjustment reading subtitles to a language I'm not used to. Because I'm so used to animes being in Japanese that I like, not that I would say I know Japanese, but there's words that you're like, yes, I know what is said as I read it kind of thing. And Mandarin is so different from Japanese that I was like, wait, what was that? Like I had to really pay attention to the subtitles, whereas before I'm usually really quick at reading it. But yeah, it was good. It was fun. It was based off of a light novel. And I think that light novel is finished and they basically did it in the season, but it has a second season coming up, which I actually am excited for. Although I will say, like, it definitely has a good ending, the first season. Like, you could just stand alone and watch the first season. I mean, it's an ending. It's not my favorite ending, but it is an ending. And it makes sense. But it's nice to know that they have a second season so they can develop more as well, kind of thing.
Okay.
So that's on Netflix. And I also started watching I continued watching finally She-Ra, Princess of Power. And I think I am 4 or 5 episodes away from the end. And the amount of emotions I felt this week because of it is not okay. Steven, you wouldn't know because you're taking a break from social media, but I tweeted out about how child's cartoons just make me feel things a lot more than they should. Like, what is this? This is for children. Why am I crying?
This decade's been good for this.
Yeah, but it's great. I love it. It got a lot more complicated than I thought it was going to be. I of course cried a lot more than I thought I would. All self-sacrifice. I have a lot of ships that I hope don't get sunk, but which I don't think they do, from what I'm understanding. Have you watched all of it, Steven?
No, I never finished it. I always intended to, but I think I have to start over to really feel it all.
Okay, where were you though? Do you know?
They did so many seasons. It's so
there's
fast.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does go through really fast.
I think I genuinely only got to like the end of season 2.
Okay, all right, so then you don't know, but I'm still going to slightly kind of spoil, but there is literally a time where I'm like, am I supposed to ship these two together? Like one of the bad guys with one of like the random characters. I'm like, am I supposed to? And it's really nice that I'm like, oh, I think I am supposed to, like later on. Like, this is great. I love this. Like, it's, I don't know, friendship is magic, and it's just, it's and all these like, oh yes, love is love, and just LGBTQ stuff, and it's just it's a wonderful show. Actually, my favorite character would be Entrapta, and she's a tech loving princess with long purple pigtails that she can control her pigtails like their hands, but she also is autistic, which I think is the coolest thing ever because she is a very well written autistic character. To the point where I was watching it and I was like, is she autistic? Because the way the signals are, I'm like, is she autistic? Like, I want to know. And sure enough, I Googled it and yeah, she's confirmed to be autistic. And it's cool to see that representation as well as all the like LGBTQ representation and just very good writing. And it's also hilarious and it's great. It's wonderful. I love She-Ra. I am going to be sad when I finish it today, probably.
So then... Oh, go ahead, Steven.
Mm-hmm.
Mitch, I think we're going to say the same kind of thing here.
What?
I'm not.
I'm not.
No?
No, I don't think. I don't think it'll be the same thing.
I was going to say, honestly, like, I didn't expect it to play into the new He-Man series as much. because obviously they're drastically different for different audiences and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say I think if you wanted to, you could still go watch the new He-Man series.
I'm going to.
All of the worst dude bros on the internet are just like, the show's so gay.
I sit and I look at a character like He-Man, like it wasn't gay before, though. Like,
yeah. Like I forget his name. When he's just like when he's not He-Man.
Prince Adam.
Thank you. I was like, Don. But yeah, like he goes around in what would be like a pretty like not. Like even at the time it came out, like a lot of the looks and different things of that series were still outside what I would say was the norm.
yeah. The little outfit with the little fuzz on his like bikini kind of thing. I was like, because that's what I look when I think of like He-Man from the past. I'm like, are you guys sure he wasn't gay? And you just like didn't know because like it was like the time of AIDS, so nobody like admitted it because and like that's legit what I felt. I was like, no, He-Man was gay. Like it makes sense, or at least bi, like for sure. Like just come on, just open up your minds. Nobody. No, that's just I don't know. But yeah, I did end up because I do want to watch that He-Man show because I have heard such an uproar about it. And when I do that, I'm like, well, I get curious. I want to know what it's about. I want to know if it's justified before it gets ruined for me. But I was like, I know they're not connected. I still want to finish She-Ra first. And I think where I was at, I was in the end of season 2, and I have binged still almost now 3 seasons in the last 3 days. So
I'd be curious. Did you watch anything for Infinity Train by any chance?
No.
It's on HBO Max.
Yeah,
No.
Infinity Train's on HBO Max. It was a Cartoon Network series. It might be a good option for the next thing you watch, but it's very different tonally. So I'd say give it a couple months before you dive in.
Okay. All right.
And surprisingly, I was going to bring up the same thing. You should give Masters of the Universe a try.
Yeah, there was just something about the way your head turned. I was like,
I will. I'm gonna give it a shot after I finish She-Ra. So
did you have any other things you want to bring up?
I've been watching the morning show really slowly with my mom, and it is utterly freaking amazing. It really fuels my want to burn the patriarchy. And it's just the acting is amazing. Jennifer Aniston, I've always known I wasn't one of the people to think Jennifer Aniston was a bad actress just because she was on Friends. Like, I always known she was a good actress, but to be able to really see her work her chops, it's just, it's beautiful. And all the characters are very well written. It's a very complicated story to tell, but I feel like they're telling it in a really good way. Where it's about like a newscaster during the Me Too movement being accused of sexual harassment and assault.
it's
and
about
how
Matt Lauer.
Matt Lauer,
yes, it's straight up about Matt Lauer. It's about Matt Lauer, and
even
it's
to the point of the door with the button.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was a real Matt Lauer thing. Oh my
That
god,
was a real Matt Lauer thing. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's disgusting. That grossed me out. Okay, but I do like how they're handling the conversation. Like I like it. I even like what's his name? Steve
Carell?
Steve
Carell is doing a wonderful job of just being that man that legit doesn't understand what consent actually is. Because it really is like, well, they did give consent, and these girls did give a version of consent where they didn't just straight say no, but it was because of a power dynamic, and he doesn't recognize that they didn't really have a choice to say no. That's the power dynamic. It's very much a male not realizing what power dynamic is and how to read basic signals of this is not okay. And I think they're doing a wonderful job at it, because I really think people should watch this show just for that purpose, just to understand it's a lot more complicated than just saying no. Like it's more than that.
You haven't gotten to the end of the season yet.
I have not. I think I'm on episode 4. It's I like it, but I have to watch it with my mom. And and we just haven't been able to sit down and binge it, mainly because when we binge together, we're binging Ted Lasso right now. Also, just because it's so real, like, I gotta take it in small doses. I can't. Like, Jennifer Aniston's character is making choices that I'm not happy with, and like I said, it fuels my like, oh, like F men, and I'm like, no, you have good men in your life, like, just like, and they're all here on
Burn them all
Geekly.
down. It's okay.
Yeah, that's all right. Honestly, we understand.
But I'm like, I need to like, I need to take breaks from it. Like, I can't just watch it all out. I'd be like curled up in my bed if I watch more than 3 episodes at a time.
Okay, what was the first show called?
The Daily Life of the Immortal King. That's on Netflix. She-Ra is on Netflix, and The Morning Show is on Apple TV.
Okay, Steven, what did you watch this week?
I got the chance to watch a couple things that I didn't necessarily expect to watch. So the first one that I watched this week, I actually ended up watching Reservation Dogs, the first episode of it. There are 2 episodes out, as I understand it, right now on Hulu, but I only watched one because, it's a lot at once. It's not the show's incredibly heavy or anything like that. It's just the main name that got my attention alongside the actual plot of it. Was that it was tied to Taika Waititi.
Yeah,
and so I expected a little more yuck-em-ups.
Well, like, one, I believe it's only produced by him, right?
Yeah, it was someone else's pitch.
Right, someone else created it. He's producer. And then 2, it's FX on Hulu. And, like, does that just mean it's on FX and then you can also watch it on Hulu? Or
yes.
does that mean anything else?
No, as far as I understand, and the way that I've always processed any of the FX on Hulu stuff is that it's an FX series, but not everyone has cable. So my God, we need to still make money somewhere else. And Hulu offered it to us.
And it's all part of Disney anyway, so.
It's true.
Yeah, so, all right, go ahead. With Reservation Dogs, like I saw the one trailer for it, and I know that it's, Taika Waititi was producing, so I was interested in it myself. So I'd love to hear what your thoughts.
I really like it. Honestly, everything that's in there, I think all of us, we're from Yuma, Arizona, which is right there by the reservation, So it's not like I feel anything for the struggle of the people in particular. Like, it's not that not that I don't feel it. I don't understand deeply the struggle of the people who live in some of like the less unfortunate situations over in the reservation. But I know the people. And so seeing a lot of the people in this, like, it was like, oh, that's that person. That's that person who used to go to shows all the time. Like, the types of characters, And so I felt a little more closeness to the thing. It's really freaking good, though. It's really good. All of the characters are fantastically and I think realistically written. There's a point in, I think, the first episode where the person who I would say is arguably the main character, Bear, he has this kind of realization about the kind of things they're trying to do because they want to get to California as a group, and there's not a lot of opportunity for them to be able to get enough money as the teenagers that they are, much less even if they were adults. Honestly, there would be a lot of opportunity. And so they're actually choosing to steal things there. To sell and build up their money to be able to go to California. And so he has this moment where he kind of realizes the stuff that they've been doing for these like past few months. It has a real world implication for the people that they steal from. And I don't know what it was, but it kind of felt like the characterization of his realization for the stuff. It felt like a lot of books, like young adult books from when I was younger. So some like holes moments, some different things like that. The way that the characters process the situation felt like these kids' books, Tangerine, other things like that. But no, it's really good. All the characters are great. I would say that it's the things that are comedy or that are funny are like slow burn kind of elements. It's not like people run through and it's like Jim pulling pranks on Dwight. It's not that. It's more like there's these two weird dudes that rap and show up every once in a while, and it's 100% their fault that these other people think that they're actually like a gang. They're the ones that give them their gang name, which is clearly just a play on like Reservoir Dogs, you know? So it's small things like that that are the comedy of the series. But there's a lot of heavy stuff in there that does make it feel like, I think, like an important coming of age story for anyone who is from like a community that they want to get out of.
Now, this is more drama than it is comedy, right?
See, honestly, I don't know what to say for that. I think it's quite possibly like a 50-50, a 60-40, but it's not a clean split at any given moment for which one is winning out. It's interesting. It's very specific, and I don't think it would have gotten produced if it didn't have a bigger name tied to it.
So Taika Waititi, he did Jojo Rabbit, but not
Yes.
Yeah. Is it along the same lines of that, or is that more comedic?
No, I think that's fair. I think Jojo Rabbit is it's more comedic because there's more absurdist kind of moments.
Yeah.
So it still plays a little bit funnier and lightens things a little bit more.
But obviously, it's not What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not that. It's not. Even his other film, The Hunt for the Wilder People, isn't the same kind of corollary for this. But I would say they're all in the same vein of each other as still having so many serious elements while still having comedy elements. But this one is the most grounded, I think.
So this one is like the most based in reality, whereas Jojo Rabbit had like a really big like imagination within the main character. So things got really a lot of people. His imaginary friend was Hitler, so which was played by Taika Waititi, right?
Yeah,
it was played by him. Yeah. But this one is more grounded in reality. I don't have like an imaginary element to it.
Honestly, think about a lot of the way that the exchanges go between Jojo and the girl who's living in their house.
Right.
Okay.
Like that kind of thing at times, where it's like even if they're enjoying some kind of like some fictitious situation that they're both making up and kind of like playing together with words, and then it'll just drop because Jojo goes too far in something. It's kind of like that at times.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That sounds good. I want to watch it.
It was really good. I recommend it so far. I don't think I'd recommend it for everybody, but if I'm just saying if it's good or not, it's good.
Okay.
Cool.
And then the other one that I watched this week was actually David Diggs' series, Blind Spotting. Blind Spotting is super. It's a very complex kind of narrative because they're making a lot of statements while still doing something that is a good series by itself. Like that one is more fun and more funny than the other series was, Reservation Dogs, even though that one is also dealing with very heavy things at the same time.
What exactly is the plot of the play and the movie and now the show?
So for this one, there's a character who I believe in the original film and probably the stage show, David Diggs played that. There's this character who's like a well-read, well-versed kind of person who got involved in some stuff and then went to jail for a couple years, I believe. He's now out on parole, and he's kind of like a quirky kind of character. You're like, it's so funny. He's so worried about going back to jail if his ankle monitor goes off. But that's not funny. No. It's an absurdist presentation of this kind of person. But the fact that he's walking around with the thing plugged in constantly to a big old orange extension cable is an embodiment of his massive fear of going back.
So when I first saw the trailer for the movie, it made me think of what was the Lakeith David movie? Or Lakeith Stanfield.
Lakeith Stanfield?
Sorry for Bothering You.
Okay.
Yeah, like the trailer for Blind Spotting made me think of the movie Sorry for Bothering You. I don't know if there's any similarities or not.
I don't know, because Sorry for Bothering You goes off the rails.
It does go off the rails. Yeah, it does. So it's nothing like that.
No, yeah. Well, there's also like multiple stories being told at the same time in Blind Spotting. So there's his character who is the next door neighbor to these other people, and their whole family dynamic is also a very complex one. There's one girl who has a kid with a guy who got himself involved in some stuff, and they were supposed to go get married and everything, and then he goes to jail, and they have to deal with the idea of having this like split up family. And the guy next door is really like integrated with their family, and you kind of get to feel a little bit better possibly about the situation that their family's about to go through since the guy just went to jail, with the voice of a person who is currently out of jail, you know? And so in the beginning, when you first are introduced to the character, like you kind of feel a little bit better about it and everything. But over the course of the first season, it's shown that like no, it's not going to be just hunky-dory. Like it's a super fucked up situation just in general. Prison is a bad system. It's very hard to return from that. But it's still presented beautifully. There's moments of true absolute beauty in there where they do stuff that's still very much like like a stage show. The lights will change. You'll see people who are all in like prison jumpsuits doing some kind of like slow interpretive dance scenes during some intense moments. The lights will drop, everything's purple, everything's red, or something like that.
That's cool.
It's very also heavy music involvement. That was very good. Divi Diggs is in it.
Yeah,
so.
Divi Diggs, yeah. No, he was Thomas Jefferson on Hamilton, right?
Yeah, and a couple people.
Well, yeah, I think that's the one he's most known for being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, does the show just restart at the beginning, like of the movie? Is it an adaptation of the movie play, or is it a continuation of the movie play? Like from where the
I don't know, honestly.
Oh, okay.
I would say they're probably starting from the same point for both of them.
Okay.
And the stage play and the movie probably both have to be much more condensed narratives.
Okay.
Yeah, because this going into a season 2, that already seems like it's much longer. So yeah.
So is that also on Hulu?
This one's a little harder. It's a Starz series.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah. So if you have Amazon Prime, you can do I think like a week-long trial for Starz.
Yeah.
As an attached thing. That's probably your best bet, but remember to turn it off.
Well, I turned mine on. I'm going to be watching Heels this weekend. I want to see that first episode. I think it looks good.
Heels?
Yeah, it's a Stephen Amell show about professional wrestling, family that does professional wrestling together.
Oh, fun.
You just miss Stephen Amell. It's okay.
I do miss Stephen Amell. It's true. I saw someone talk about it, saying that it's kind of like Friday Night Lights, but with wrestling instead of football. So it's like the game, the sport itself isn't as big as the family drama is.
Yeah. Is it at all supposed to be about like the Rhodeses?
I don't think it's supposed to be like they come right out and say that, but it's definitely. I mean, Stephen Amell has that relationship with Cody Rhodes, so I can't imagine it not being about that family.
Okay,
in some way. And honestly, all of professional wrestling is pretty incestuous in the fact that it's all different families come together and fighting over the same stuff over and over again.
It's true. If you want more of that, you can go watch Ultimate Muscle, the anime series from the 90s that continues the Kinnikuman legacy.
Oh.
Cool.
I love that show.
All right. So FX for Reservation Dogs and Stars for Blind Spotting. I have 3 things that I'm going to talk about, but I think one of them I'm not going to talk too much about. The first one I'm going to talk about is something I saw Jessica also tweeted about. Fantastic Island, or Fantasy Island, sorry.
Oh, yes, Fantasy Island.
The first episode of Fantasy Island, I believe, is on Fox now. I watched it on Hulu. It's starring Rosalind Sanchez as the new Rourke of the island. She is the niece, I believe, of the original Rourke, Mr. Rourke.
Yes.
I could not remember what Fantasy Island was.
The plane.
And then you said Rourke. Yeah. Oh goodness.
The plane.
Now, I don't think I ever watched any of the original Fantasy Island episodes. I remember the Daffy Duck Fantasy Island cartoon for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And then recently, I believe last year, they put out a horror movie that's based off of it with Michael Pena as Mr. Rourke. And,
sense.
Yeah, everybody's fantasy kind of...
Nightmare Island, please tell me it's actually Nightmare Island.
it's everybody's fantasy is kind of like get your revenge on the people that did you wrong kind of thing. And then which kind of ties in for this, like as I understand it, they have two stories in the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
One is the older couple that kind of just want to feel young again. And it's the light, happy story, whereas the other story is the person who thinks what their fantasy is not really what their fantasy is. They need something else to get past something in their life, and that's what the island is going to give them. And I'm pretty sure that's how the old series kind of worked too, right, Jessica?
Yeah, it was like you would come to do your simple fantasy, but the island's like, this is the reason why this is your fantasy. Like, it got down to the root of the cause of why you have that fantasy, and basically the root and the cause was basically a psychological issue that you needed to directly confront.
Some trauma that you needed to work through.
Yeah, as the main character not the main character, as the guest on this one, where she's like a newscaster and she just wants to eat and not have to worry about gaining weight. Like, that's her fantasy, is I want to do nothing but eat this weekend. And the island is like, yeah, no, we need to reflect on why you have this relationship with food that you have, because it's a bad relationship. And it gets down to, like, she was raised in an abusive household in which she was critiqued for weight and gaining weight. So she has a bad relationship with food. So
yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say that no one ever said that this was what Fantasy Island was about, ever in my life. It was the joke of the plane.
Yeah, that is
the Montalban being there.
Joke. And I've only seen like a few episodes here and there I don't think it was even TV Land that would show it, but there was a time where some channel was showing Fantasy Island followed by my other favorite that I want them to redo, The Love Boat. But my mom watched it when she was younger and she liked it, and she was the one who told me, yeah, no, it's really about, you think you come in as this fantasy, but really it's to help you realize your issues and get over them, kind of thing.
Interesting.
Face them. So it's really actually a nice show. Yeah.
And then John Locke is able to walk again.
Oh, different type of island altogether. So I would say that I enjoyed the first episode, and I thought it was interesting the way that they got Mrs. Rourke or Miss Rourke's new assistant for the island this time around. I don't know if I necessarily agree with their decision, but sure. It's definitely going to be a procedural because, like, I don't see how. I mean, I guess you could follow around Rourke's story as a through line, but it's definitely going to be whoever the new person is that week, or sets of people to come to the Fantasy Island. So it's more procedural, and I don't know if I will stay up with this. It's definitely a show that I could just put on while I'm working on something else. It's not going to be too heavy, but I don't know if I'll stay up on it just because there's so many other good things to watch. But it was good. I did enjoy it. How did you feel about it, Jessica?
I liked it. I enjoyed it. It reminded me of watching the old ones with my mom and her being excited. And she also really liked it. But we did also, because we're watching more serious shows now, we did also make fun of it. Like the filming of it and the editing of it. We were like, ooh, like I haven't watched like a normal sitcom
right
in a while.
Yeah.
So, and if my mom watches normal sitcoms, it's like the Chicago series, which is a bit more serious. Whereas this one, it's like, wait, what?
Is this the like Chicago Fire, Chicago PD?
Yeah. The only one she doesn't watch is the Chicago PD because she doesn't like PD, but she likes Med and Fire.
I did not know that was a whole shared universe thing.
Oh yeah.
They
share it with the Law and Order universe.
They have little like tie-ins where it will start with the incident happening in Fire and then the results of the incident in the Med, and then the solving what caused the incident in PD.
Yep.
Like they'll have those.
They call it One Chicago Night.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's great.
Okay. I watched Stargate for this back in the day.
Oh, Stargate and Stargate Atlantis.
Yeah. Infinity. Oh man, all of them. Universe.
Well, that Dick Wolf, he's got it under control. He knows what to do. Get all the shows tied together.
Yeah.
The next thing that I watched that I want to talk about, and you can find out more about my thoughts on this movie on the latest Mitch and Rich show, The Green Knight. So
I'm curious.
The Green Knight. One, I had no idea that there was a Arthurian poem called Sir Gawain and the Green Knight that this is based off of, or loosely based off of, or twisted based on.
Yeah.
But as Elizabeth has pointed out, that it is very much the Odyssey, but with Arthurian. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie is a trip. It really is. Like, I think everybody's pointing out the fact that it is very slow paced is valid, but I honestly did not.
It was the Odyssey.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I honestly did not feel like I was feeling the slowness of it, if that makes any sense. Like, most of the time, if a movie is slow paced, I'm like, oh, okay, we need to get on to the next thing. But like this, maybe it was because I was in a theater and like you can't go somewhere else, you can't do something else.
Well,
So
in that situation, you're saying it like it's a positive. I could easily see someone saying like it was a negative, like they were imprisoned.
I think it depends. Like, do you normally
True.
like slow builds?
I do not.
Like, okay,
Not usually. Yeah.
Interesting.
because
And you were
okay with
I
this
can
one.
like a good, well written slow build and like tension rising. So I feel like I might like this from what I've heard.
But see, I really feel like they miss on the tension rising part.
Yeah.
And I think that's because of the way that Dev Patel plays his character, that he plays it too cocky or too nonchalant, which makes sense
He's
for
not-
the character.
Is he supposed to be that? I'm trying to remember the original tale.
No,
I read
no.
it.
He's playing Gawain.
Oh,
No,
okay.
but yeah, he is playing Gawain, but like as I understand it in the poem, Gawain is more pure and like he's the good knight, the knight that is the most chivalrous and stuff like that.
The whole point is he became that way because of his trial with the Green Knight, though, is what I thought was the whole point of it. Because
Well,
from what I remember of the original tale is Sir Gawain, the Green Knight comes and basically challenges Sir Gawain to a duel, and he's like, whatever you do to me, I'll do to you a year later, like on the dot. And Sir Gawain's like, okay, I got this, I'm just gonna kill you. And he beheads him, and the Green Knight picks, I hope this doesn't happen in the movie, but like the Green Knight picks up his head, walks off, and is like, I'll see you in a year. Like,
Yeah.
and Sir Gawain's like, I'm gonna die in a year. Like, this is, but he like tries to be like it's like that choice. Like, you could either be the crappiest person for a year and deny that you're gonna die or whatever, or you could try to be as good as possible for that year and leave your mark. I think it's been a while since I read it, but I thought that was like the whole point of it, is choosing to be chivalrous even though there's no reason to, I suppose. Or maybe it's more complicated than that.
No, from everything I've heard from other people talking about this movie and the poem, you're right.
Okay.
In the poem, he is already a knight. In this, he is not yet a knight when he when he goes up against the Green Knight. And I don't know what he chooses in the poem, but in the movie for that year, he chooses to be shitty. But he was already shitty beforehand. Like, literally, he is the nephew, and I'm not giving away anything that's not given to you in the first 10 minutes of the movie. He is the nephew of King Arthur. He is Morgan Le Fay's son, and like, he's literally just living off of the name. That's not how it is in the poem, or that's
I know. I was like, wait, what? Morgan
They
Le
made
Fay?
these changes for the movie. And like
in this, like he's not like actively doing like terrible things. He's just like the benign shitty.
Yes, exactly. And he's living off of his name. He's living off of the fact that he gets to go and be with all the knights and be in King Arthur's court, but he's never done anything to deserve to be there. And
Because
that's
he's like the nephew, so he's there by status alone.
Exactly.
Okay.
And yeah, so I mean, the changes that they make for the movie, I think are most of them are good, especially for the reason of the Green Knight showing up, as I've heard compared to the poem. But like the movie itself is just so. I mean, I know there are other movies out there that are just further out, like just out. But this, to me, it was very strange. Not vivarium strange, but like close.
Would you consider it like an avant-garde kind of film?
Yes.
If that makes sense. Do they call films avant-garde?
In the kind of way that you would say like a perfume ad is avant-garde sometimes.
Yes.
That's how I feel about this movie. It feels like a perfume or cologne ad a lot of times.
At one time, Steven texted me before I saw the movie and said that or I think you even said it on the recording last week that it's a music video. Like, you can. I thought it was more of a video game. Like, to me, the movie plays out like a video game.
Like a Hideo Kojima game, maybe.
Sure. That's fair.
I'm curious. Okay.
So, yeah.
It's a lot.
You can hear Richard and Mai's more discussion on the movie on the Mitch and Rich show if you want to give that a try.
Wait, Mitch, I haven't gotten to listen to this yet. This episode of that, if that's out already.
Well, as of recording, it's not out, but as of the posting of this recording, it is out.
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
And you tell me if it's too much of a spoiler for everything else. Did you and he come down on very different sides with this movie?
No. I wouldn't.
Okay.
I don't think we did. I don't think we did. And I thought we would, but we didn't.
Okay.
So there you go. That the Green Knight is in theaters right now.
And one night of like this month or whatever, you're going to be able to watch it at home digitally.
That's right. Right. That August 21st.
Oh, 21st. Okay.
I think it's 21st. We posted about it this week on our social media, so you can find that there. The other movie I watched is definitely the one, and like this is the thing that was completely different from the Green Knight, and it's something I wanted to watch when it came out, but I never got around to it because we weren't going to the theaters. It's Nobody, starring Bob Odenkirk, which I thought was. What did they think?
I think my dad kind of liked it. My mom not so much. It was funny because it was the day I chose to watch Suicide Squad. And I kind of was like, I don't think you're going to end up liking it, Mom. I've heard it's more graphic than you thought. So I'm just going to watch it on my own kind of thing. And while I'm doing that, they choose to watch Nobody, in which
is
I literally walk through, and it's the scene in which, kind of sort of spoiler, that he hurts someone with a martini glass.
Yeah.
And, like, tears out his face with the glass. And I'm like staring at the screen and staring at my mother, who's like cowering. And I'm like, I think you could have watched the Suicide Squad with me. Like,
but yeah, Bob Odenkirk in his John Wick role, so to speak, because it is written by the same person that wrote John Wick.
It's Saul Wick.
That's right. Better call Saul Wick. But I guess Odenkirk has talked in interviews and commentary for this that he trained for 2 years to make this movie, and it's based off of an idea that he had because his house was broken into twice. The whole movie starts off with intruders, coming into the house to steal stuff, and he sees them and he's like, just get out. But then his son comes running from the other room and tackles one of the robbers. And at that moment, he's like, all right. So he has a golf club in his hand and he can take out one of the other ones because the person's right there. But he decides not to. And he tells his son to just let the other guy go and let the two robbers leave, kind of thing. And like the son kind of like loses respect for him and all this stuff. But then you come to find out that there's reasons why Bob Odenkirk's character of Hutch does not want to resort to violence, because
he was an accountant.
Well, he's not an accountant. Like
no, it's okay. So I had this conversation with my mother. Yes, I was like, so you went and like I watched this, and then you go and watch a show about a hitman, and she's like, he wasn't a hitman, he was an accountant. And I was like, Mom, that's code for hitman.
Like, come on.
She's like, how do you know that? I was like, I'm a writer. Like, I just know things I should know.
Yeah, like it's like think about just the bare minimum idea of like trying to balance the books.
Yeah. There's red in your ledger, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yes, there is a whole history of which I honestly thought was interesting that they did not get into, like his history of what it was that he used to do in the military, what it is that
That's cool.
So it leaves it open for future movies, which they've already talked about. They're going to do a part 2. Unfortunately, Bob Odenkirk was in the hospital like a couple weeks earlier. He just kind of out of the blue fell down or got real sick or something on set. Yeah. But he's okay now. All of his social media and his son have gotten on social media and said that he's fine, like returning to work. So no one really, I don't think they ever came out and just said what it was, but
yeah, it was weird. We basically only had what's his name's tweets at first.
Yes.
The guy from freaking, I forget the name, Arrested Development.
Which one? Jason Bateman?
No. I thought it was one of the guys from Arrested Development. I don't remember. So like, let's move on. I'll do internet research.
All right. It's also directed by, and I can't say his name, Russian name, did Hardcore Henry, Ila Neishuler. Yeah, Neishuler. Which I enjoyed Hardcore Henry a lot. That is an antithetical like video game movie that's not a video game because it's all first person, and even though I didn't get violently like motion sick from watching the movie, I did get very woozy, but I still enjoyed the movie a lot, and I thought that was a good thing. So
David Cross,
that would make sense because they did Bob and David, or the Mr. Show with Bob and Dave, like a long time before that. Like they're good friends. So yeah, there you go. Nobody is available on VOD wherever you'd like to rent it, but I would recommend it. It's not as fast as like you would think, like a John Wick movie, but it's still good.
Okay. Would you put Bob Odenkirk currently, because of this movie, in the new pantheon of action stars that we're getting, where we have people in like Atomic Blonde,
right?
What's the recent Milkshake one?
Yes, Gunpowder Milkshake.
Gunpowder Milkshake. Yeah, we're getting so many people where it's like, I think this is the new class of action stars.
Well, I wouldn't say that he's going to be classified as an action star. Yes, he's going to do more do more nobody movies, but like I think his bread and butter is still going to be comedy. Like it's still going to be the best place for him to do, like maybe even drama, like because Better Call Saul is dramatic, but he brings in his comedic timing and stuff like that, which comedy actors usually make some of their best dramatic actors just because they can get you to feel. And I don't know if anybody watched him in The Post, but he was great in that. So I would say that action's not going to be where he's going to be more of, I wouldn't think, but like this was good for him.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see him joining Charlize Theron, Keanu Reeves, Liam Neeson in like this weird class of action movie star, but I get what you're saying. All right. So let's talk about Sweet Tooth, Secret Sauce. So Secret Sauce is the name or the name that the former doctor in that community that was it Ronnie? No, not Ronnie. What's a Dr. Singh is now in charge of. Aditya, yeah. And Secret Sauce is basically the formula that she's created in her notebook for.
It comes from like bone marrow and pineal gland juice.
Yes, of a living hybrid,
which is weird.
So
what does that mean? Once you get into an area where you can access the pineal gland, like I think they're pretty much done.
I guess I don't know where the pineal gland is. Where is that at?
Base of the brain.
Yeah.
Oh,
like
okay.
It's like right there, like the meat of the brain meets the stem.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you got a long enough syringe.
Area to get at.
I'm sure you're not going to be alive much time after that. But
Yeah, it's in the most important part of your brain. and so it's not somewhere you want to stick a syringe.
Did anybody else catch what the other flares were labeled? Because there's the purple one that he shoots was called secret sauce, which I guess means, hey, I need secret sauce. Please go and find some more living hybrids. And they've already like figured out what, colors mean what on each end.
There was the other one in there that I think it said Szechuan.
Shut up. You say Mulan?
McDonald's.
Rick and Morty. But I mean, it is inside of a fast food restaurant, so there's that.
It's a McDonald's, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So he is taking it because of what is going on with his wife, and the serum is no longer being effective on her. He's willing to take that extra step, and or at least she is, and she's saying, "Hey, it's what we need."
In this episode, we got to deal with the neighborhood Karen more.
Right.
The horse solved the problem. The horse.
Why would you take the body
wonderful.
away though? Like, just be like, the horse kicked her. Nothing we could do about it.
Exactly. Literally, the excuse for everything is right there. She was worried about the possibility of there being some more people after what happened with that other guy. So she came by, she went outside, and while she was distracted, saying, "Thank you for having this conversation and settling my nerves," patted the horse on the butt, and horses did what they did.
Yeah, a horse did what it's supposed to do, or tends to do. Like that, I was like, why are they taking the body away? Just call the cops.
Just call the cops and be like, "Hey, my horse killed somebody," and you'd be like, "Yeah, that happens now because we're dealing with horses a lot more, and horses easily kill people with just one swift click." I don't know. I feel like that horse. I feel like how I want it to be is like very much Mother Nature taking back her crap, and that horse was just like, "Oh, we got a problem here." I got you. If you got a problem, I got it. Like, there's an awareness now in animals to, I don't like this Karen either. Just, I'll take care of it for y'all.
I was
Keep
very
giving
happy.
me carrots.
I audibly was just like, yeah. When it happened.
I did feel like, and I don't know if I missed it, but there was a missing scene there, because last we saw Nancy was leaving the house to go like put a vote towards the community about doing emergency testing or whatever, or random testing, and then all of a sudden she's walking out of the house and she's like, "I knew you were sick."
I think it was just too long of a cut. I think before she ran out of the house, I think she recognized you're sick, and then once they chased after her, because that was the scene end, was they're starting to chase after her, and then it cuts to the long kid scene. Like, I think it was just too long of a time between scene to scene. Like, the time jumps, like, I don't know if all these things are happening at the same time or if they're happening.
I really don't think
you're
they
jumping
are.
around between character story to character story.
Well, they could have done it in that scene, because I agree with you 100%, Jess. Like, and for Mitch, like, I understand why you feel this. I think they could have done it where they could have gone back and forth between the stuff that was happening with the kids, because that's the whole big clash where everything's boiling over. If they had made both of those things shorter together, and then had the music build up behind all of them at the same time, and you show like exchange here, exchange there, exchange here, exchange there, and then you give it more of a focus on the animal kids and everything, the Lost Boys over there, then like at a certain point, then it just like bam goes over to when she's like running outside after everything, and then horse. Like, they could have timed it and had it gone back and forth rather than have it be so much of this and then this very small sliver of back there with them.
Yeah, it's like, here's this climax, here's this climax, here's this climax. Or if they jumped a bit more between them, it would have been more smoother, I think. Yeah.
But I mean, we also don't know. We don't know what scenes they had. It could have been a much more difficult thing, and this was the best way for this to go.
Yeah,
is true.
That is fair.
I don't know. Had the series brought up the purple flowers before this episode?
Yes.
Okay.
They mentioned it before, that the flowers bloom after somebody gets sick or something.
After somebody gets sick. and someone
After an
dies, or
outbreak.
just okay? So, I mean, I guess if they already mentioned it, but to me, I guess it had just escaped my mind that they had mentioned before. Is there going to be a chance that the flowers are going to be the cure?
It would be weird for it not to,
right? For it
pop
not
up
to
like that.
Yeah.
Because there's no other correlation between flowers and people. We don't pollinate. Like, that's not how that goes.
I mean, just the fact that I don't know if it's just to build tension for us, for like, especially for like the doctor and his wife, that like obviously someone's sick here, so whenever we see it, like that means someone's going to get killed or hurt. But
it could also just be like stupid human nonsense where we're like, yeah, those pop up every time. No, they're all over the countryside all the fucking time, Dan. The correlation is not causation.
You're connecting two things that don't need to connect.
Yeah.
So that's all going on with that. Like, let's talk about the doctor that's living in a zoo with her adopted daughter, Pigtail.
Pigtail.
Yeah, Pigtail. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, years have passed with her since she got that baby in the bassinet.
Mm-hmm.
And she listens to the radio, and she's also the person that's talking about the preservation on the radio.
Mhm.
As we find out towards the end of their story. So there's a little bit of a time jump there already.
Mm-hmm.
We're having a lot of reminiscence of Witcher over here.
Yeah. What year is it? What do you mean it's 100 years ago? Like, what?
Wait, so do you think when all of this stuff comes to a head, does Gus get to meet the grown-up gopher boy? And he's just like an adult, and he's like, "Hi, how's it going?"
Well,
I came here as a baby.
Well, so Pigtail she also can speak. Like, as Jessica brought up in the first episode, yes, you let them live long enough and they will be able to speak.
If you talk to children, they will be able to speak.
Yeah. The same thing goes for dogs. Stop baby talking to your dogs and you can have a speaking dog like I do.
Never. I will always baby talk to my dog. And so then, yes, we get to meet Bobby. Now, Bobby is a hybrid, but it's more hybrid than any other hybrid that we've seen so far. I feel
he straight up looks like a walking prairie dog.
Yeah.
Or gopher, or I don't know what he's supposed to be.
So Naima put forward a thing I did not think of.
Okay.
For this. Mitch, I don't know if you were going to say something like this. You can feel free to say what you were going to say here.
No, go ahead.
Ask your question. She asked if there's a possibility that this stuff starts happening to humans, where humans come out as hybrids, you know? Is there a chance that it worked the other way also?
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to bring up.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, is this a animal that ended up coming out a little bit more human?
Poor gopher mom, just like,
what the heck? Well, I mean, don't gophers eat their babies? Like, or is that just gerbils and hamsters?
I mean, gerbils 100% eat each other. That is true. Or hamsters.
Actually, rodents in general, I think they do just eat each other. They're very mean and aggressive.
Yeah.
So, interesting that Pigtail found Bobby before her mother was, who's obviously very vigilant.
Mm-hmm.
And they have it seems like a good system, like living in this zoo. So
yeah,
I don't know. It doesn't seem like it can last that long. If I'm being honest, like that place is going to seem like just a whole honeypot of treasure for people.
True, and the only thing I can throw out there is that maybe since a zoo is built to keep animals in, it has enough reinforcements to keep people out. But I don't think it works that way.
I don't think the zoos currently have been very great at keeping people out of the enclosures lately on the news. If there's people, there is a way to be stupid.
we like idiots find a way.
I mean, I did like the scenes of the major skyscrapers and stuff like that are covered in ivy and overgrown grass and stuff like that. So I thought I always enjoy that in these dystopian movies and shows and stuff. But, I mean, things are developing with that subplot of the story, and I really do wonder when the 2 or 3 stories are going to meet up with each other. So we'll see. Main story, the Animal Army. I did not expect it to be that many people in the army, or kids,
agreed.
or young adults, or however you want to call them.
No, it's about how much I thought it would be. Like, yep, this seems like teenager anarchy right here in a dystopian world.
I just don't know how did they, like, is the power grid is still active? There's a bunch of kids using VR headsets,
Yeah.
doing a whole bunch of stuff and everything. People have a hard enough time making their VR stuff work now.
Yeah, on our 1950s electric grid system that can't support it.
Well, also, what is that place? I mean, obviously, it was a place that was already set up.
Look like an
It's a
amusement
laser tag
park.
place.
The laser
Yeah.
tag? Okay.
So it's just
Well,
like
I don't know if it's a laser tag place, but it seems like when they go around, there's black lights, there's golf
Yeah.
carts, there's arcade cabinets.
yeah, but there's also like outside of the main building they live, there's like these zip lines and almost tree stands and stuff like that. So like I almost think it might have been also a paintball course.
that makes sense.
It's like it's
honestly.
just basically a big amusement place for kids that would have went before the pandemic or the dystopia or whatever you want to call it, and then they took it over, and now it's so maybe the place has its own power, its own generators.
I suppose there could be water right by there, and they have like a
Hydro
some
pump?
sort. Yeah,
Or
they're living at Wild River. That's a Yuma joke.
all those Yuma fans. But yes, that was an interesting thing. And then we meet Bear, or at least we get to know Bear more. She says that she is the one who started the Animal Army, got all these kids together. But now we see that there's also a power struggle between her and Tiger, which
As would happen.
yeah,
if we're
honestly, I
honest.
did not realize that she was supposed to be a tiger. I thought she was a snake, like the whole time. Like that wrap that she wears, I thought it was just like supposed to represent the tail and stuff. But okay,
Yeah, no. I like my favorite part of this whole army thing is like, yes, we love and respect nature, and you later on find out they keep a freaking tiger in chains in like a metal, what do you call it, little crate thing.
yeah.
I'm like, excuse me, you hypocritical little shits. Like,
Well,
just,
They're also
as
talking
humans.
about they're also talking about the earth and nature being great and taking everything back, and they're using all this power, which obviously
I know,
is-
like,
yeah.
to play VR games in which they pretend that they're hybrids. And I'm like, oh my God, yes, you are teenage anarchy people. Like, ugh.
You know what
There was a lot in there.
this reminded me of, and I don't know where else this correlates other than the animated Pinocchio movie, but the island where the kids turn into donkeys because
The
it's
Donkey Island.
well, that's Odyssey,
Fantasy
right?
Island? Yeah, Odyssey 2 is
it's the island where because it's Percy
Cersei's
Jackson
Island, yeah.
yeah, where the
Okay, yeah.
Or
yeah.
Calypso's Island.
Calypso's
But
Island, yeah.
probably Cersei's more because Cersei turned the men into pigs. Because
Ah.
they
Yeah.
deserved it.
So, but I mean, is that what this is supposed to be in our Gus's hero's journey? This is the temptation to stay and forget
Yep.
about his journey.
Yes, I do believe it's that. Gus doesn't fall for it, thankfully, but it definitely is the Temptation Island in a hero's journey space.
There was also like there's elements in there I think of like Lord of the Flies.
Oh, definitely
so many
Lord of the
other
Flies.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Lost
Um,
Boys in general.
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
And I liked the turn that we had for that leader character there. Because I do think at the end she was leaving not out of self-preservation, but because if she removes herself from there, that eliminates one of the like quote unquote sides of the conflict. People wouldn't be fighting for her side of things if she's not there.
Yeah.
Because the direct quote we have right before that is, "If you're not with me, you're with her."
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. But like watching something that you believe in get changed and maybe in your eyes perverted, like I honestly maybe she didn't know. She would have probably been on the same side, just like big man was always about, I hunt hybrids, take them out, whatever. And then this Gus changed his mind. Now, this one particular hunter or poacher changed Bear's mind, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I think it's more that I think it was the last episode that actually started with the narrator saying like some people are born to be good leaders, and she actually does represent what a good leader is, and she recognizes she can no longer be a good leader with this troop. So, and another aspect of being a good leader is being open-minded, and that's what she is, where her other people are not. So she recognizes this is useless. Like, I'm gonna go figure out what my next mission is, basically. From what I took it as. Like, I do really like her character. I do think, oh, okay, she's open-minded. She actually is, but she is the way she is clearly because I think she says her family was killed.
But we don't know how.
Yeah, but I assume by poachers or something. Maybe her family had protected a hybrid and they died that way. I don't know, but I am more interested in her character. I'm sure we're not done with her character.
Yeah.
I kind of hope she does join up with Gus, but I don't think immediately it's going to happen. I don't know.
I'm curious to see how many people will be like on Team Gus later.
So many people. He's going to be the king of the forest.
We saw it. He's wearing the crown.
I just don't know like if it will be like a gaggle of people who are all together, or if they'll essentially be like the stones in the beginning that he hopped across that helped him get across the water. You know?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. I like that.
We see him have like animal empathy or whatever, like with the tiger. He gets the tiger to calm down and not attack Big Man. You know, is equivalent to maybe the stag showing up in the previous episode.
King of the forest, yes.
That's right. So is this going to be a thing that all hybrids can do, do you think? Or is it just Gus?
I don't know.
I think all hybrids can gain access to it. I think Gus naturally knows how to do it better because I think he is... Like, they keep on mentioning how rare it is to have a stag. And mythology-wise, like, white stags, like, although they're considered, like, prey-type animals that you hunt, they're still considered very powerful. I mean, we kind of learned it in Shadow and Bone. Mm-hmm. Like, there is a deep symbolism to the white stag being all-powerful, like, even more powerful than predator-type spiritual animals because it is more of a prey animal, and it protects in a different way as opposed to attacking. So, I don't know where I was going with that mythological term, but I think Gus is definitely the bridge or he's the king of the forest. I can't get around it.
I'm trying to figure if there's as clean of a one-liner for like a white stag, which is a repeated theme, as there is for like death comes on a white horse. I can't think of a one-line thing that's used for white stags as much.
Yeah. Because they're kind of just all over the place within different myths, but they're always held to a very high standard.
Right. Yeah. But we see that Gus is able to get Jeopards out of the situation that he's in. The two of them run off. Bear takes off her, I'm guessing, bear skull. I don't know what kind of animal that is that she wears on top of her head.
It looked like a small bear skull. But
is it weird that they wear the skull of the thing that they're supposed to be embodying?
Yes, it is.
They're not just lying around, right? Like, you go get it.
yeah, it is a little weird.
And then they also, all I could think is like they're all wearing like super heavy fur coats or faux fur coats, and I'm just like, it's got to be hot. Like, it's way too warm to be running around and all that.
What was with that like Blue Jay man who's like just made of wood or something?
And then the rhino kid, like, that's all looked very like nylon and just seemed like it'd be suffocating.
The makeup though, man, these girls' eyeliner, I was just like, I need to learn how to do that tiger eye because that was gorgeous.
It's just
and
TikTok,
it did not melt at all. And I don't know if they have easy access to face setting spray. Like, it's got to be difficult.
They don't have a mist.
So Is this the last you've already said this is not going to be the last we heard of Bear, but is this the last we heard of the Animal Army?
No.
No.
Unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we see the Tiger Lady again later.
So we have Animal Army and the Last Men, Abbott, Bear. I forget what the zookeeper's name is at this moment.
I don't remember either.
And then Dr. Singh. All these stories have to
Collide
with Gus, Big Man, and hopefully Birdie at some point.
I think, actually, that's a question. Do you guys think Birdie's around? Because I don't.
No.
But I also could see if they did, honestly. If they did have her still be around.
The way that this show is going, you're definitely going to find a memorial or a gravestone. You're not going to find actual Birdie. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm there too.
Yeah.
That would be an aspect of the hero's journey too, is Gus having to go through something like that too.
I do like that this book is, or this book, this show, there's things that tie to other properties or stories, you know? And there's a heavy through line in this for Are You My Mama?
Yes. Are you my mama? No. I'm a cow.
Because he just keeps going through, like, do you know this lady?
And that's the weirdest thing too. It's just like a random picture of a random person. No, I don't know that person. Why would you think I know this person?
Hey, you're a human. Do you know other humans?
Like, and no one's been like, dude, what? Like, no one has been like that. Everyone's
And
just
instead they're like,
I'm sorry,
that looks like the Red Rock Stadium.
Yeah.
That's in Colorado.
That's in Colorado. RR.
Yeah.
All right. Any other things you'd like to say about this particular episode?
I like Big Man Jeb or Jed, or I can't remember what his actual name is. Jeopard's his face when Gus saves him like 2 times, and Gus is like, no, I like this guy, and he's just like, love? Like, I used to know love. Like, that's his face.
He got a great joke in there. Jeb got a great joke in.
The football player? Like, oh, you like football?
Yeah. He's like, I didn't peg you for a football fan. That was great. No one else in there had to get it. That was a joke just for him. Those are my favorite.
Which someone pointed out to me just this week, that in the first episode, before everybody gets sick, when they're doing the flashback, you see him on the television playing football. Yeah,
cool.
When Dr. Singh goes walking by a television, like he's up there playing football.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I like that. I don't know. I do also feel like we can talk about that conversation of Bear being like, he kills people, and Gus being like, you just killed people. Like, I don't see the moral black and white here.
Out of the mouth of babes, right?
Yep.
All right. Well, there you go. Unless anybody else has any more to say, you can find me and talk to me about Sweet Tooth or any of the other shows or movies on Twitter. I am at Mitchipedia GEM. GEM stands for Geek Elite Media. Jessica, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter talking about how much I'm crying over kids shows on at JM Writes.
And Steven?
I'm not on social media so much right now. So I guess I'll use my time to plug the new Shaman King series on Netflix. Have your kids watch it. It's cool.
The rest of Geek Elite Media is at Geek Elite Media on Twitter, at Geek Elite Media on Instagram, and Facebook.com/Geek Elite Media is our Facebook page. Check out archived episodes of this podcast and other podcasts on our network on our website, geekelitemedia.com. Whatever podcatcher you use to listen to us, please rate and review us. It helps spread the word of our network. But until next time, this is the Geeks Watch on the Geek Elite Media Network, saying always remember to
geek out.
This concludes our broadcast. Beep.